The Cubs need to improve this offseason. Here's 5 ways to do that.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Today's episode is presented by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Well, always have fun doing this show, Sam. Again, thank you, everyone, for making us the number one place to talk Cubs on the planet. We do not take that lightly. Today, as the offseason really picks up, today, we're going to go over how the Cubs can actually improve the next 3 months by identifying the 5 areas to do so. And then I also have a very general overview of some of the worthy candidates in each of those categories. So, Sam, I think it's a clear number one, but what do you think?
I made a list of 5,
Okay.
and I'm going to start from 5. Okay.
All right.
5 is the only one that's not a tangible thing. It's not something that you could actually point to, and that is the Cubs need to do something this offseason to raise the morale of the fans and the perception of this organization. It just seems like things are down a little bit, maybe even a lot, and rightfully so after a disappointing season. I don't know what specifically that is, but this is just general. I think we need to head into March with a little bit of a jolt. On this very day, recording day of last year, the Cubs hired Craig Counsell. And that is what really jolted us through what was otherwise a very sleepy offseason. They need to figure out something to get these fans back excited about Cubs baseball. That's number 5. Number 4 onto the diamond is the catching position. They need to add a catcher. Travis d'Arnaud is somebody that started to pop up with the Braves. I don't think it needs to be a legit stud starting catcher. It just needs to be insurance if Miguel Amaya stops hitting for 2 months like he did last year. Number 3, starting pitcher. This is the easiest thing for the Cubs to add because they actually have room for it, unlike their position player. Just because you have a strength doesn't mean you don't need to double down on that strength. I think most of us would feel great if Jameson Taillon was the 4th best starter heading into the 2025 season, and the Cubs have their pick of the lot. There's a lot of really good, fun starting pitching options. That would be number 3. Number 2, the bullpen, the back end of the bullpen. They need to, again, we won't be able to tell until about May to see if this actually worked because we all celebrated when they got Hector Neris, and he really struggled this campaign. But they need to shore up the back end of their bullpen, whether that's internally or externally, I don't know. Probably a little bit of both because that was a huge problem. And number 1, I'm not even going to say a power bat. This team needs an offensive star. That's their biggest need, a star. And maybe that happens internally, and we don't see it until the season starts, and somebody jumps up to being a 5-WAR player or a star. Maybe it happens externally. But the biggest need in heading into the 2025 season is there needs to be a star, a 5-WAR player, a hub, whatever you want to call it. It needs to be a guy that we can build around and feel really good about, every single at bat. And that's it. 5, team morale. Perception needs to be better. Need to get these fans excited again.
Go Cubs.
4, catcher. 3, bullpen, starting pitcher. 2, bullpen. 1, STAR, star.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great list. I'm going to definitely supplement that list or complement what you're saying, mostly echo it as well. I have the same list. I just have starter and reliever flipped, although I guess maybe I wasn't as conscious of the order. I do think relief pitching is more important than starter. I have catcher fourth as well. And then I went all baseball. And the Athletic backed me up in their report today. A lefty bat off the bench who could play multiple infield spots. But number one is a power bat. And when I give you these names, I do wonder what you think they are worth in terms of their star power. They need a power bat who immediately hits cleanup, and they need it from the upper tier. Now, again, this might not be the star tier, but it is that upper echelon of player. And right now, I have 3 names in the free agent category, and I have 2 names in the trade category, and then one to a lesser extent, but still in this type of discussion in Josh Naylor. Okay, but he's, I think, kind of that second tier. The upper tier of trade candidates, as we'll get to next segment, the A's are pretty committed to Brent Rooker sticking there. So I did cross them out. I penciled in Kyle Tucker.
Wow.
Who's a free agent after this year. So again, I don't know if the Cubs are going to do something like that.
Well, Jed doesn't care about that. He's trying to save his job.
Well, then I appreciate you saying that. Plus, he's not represented by Boris. So maybe you could do an extension. Second trade candidate, Adolis Garcia. Okay.
Okay. I wouldn't throw him in the, he did not have a very good season.
Right. So you're more excited by Tucker, right?
Well, that's absolutely. Yeah.
Guess who I think they should trade for him if they don't re-sign Bregman, especially, or Bregman Insurance?
Wait, hang on a minute. Hang on.
Okay.
Guess who I think the Cubs should trade Tucker for?
Yeah, that is part of the package. I think it's an easy choice.
Paredes?
100%. They're going to need a third baseman.
So it would be like a Paredes and like a stud prospect.
Yeah, I would say a couple.
Yeah, and you guys could catch the show tomorrow. I'm going to rank our trade values.
Please.
The guys that have the most trade value on this team.
Well, and then there's 3 free agents.
Or I should say in this organization.
Obviously, excluding Juan Soto.
This organization.
Fortunately.
By the way, I love that idea. Hold on. I love that.
Okay.
Tucker's a stud.
Yeah.
You could move Paredes with him. Maybe you throw in like a Casey and Cam Smith or something.
Right.
I don't know. So,
all right, I'm glad you like that.
Probably a couple more.
3 free agents: Pete Alonso, Anthony Santander, and Willie Adames.
Yeah.
And if it's not one of those 5 or 6 guys or someone in that upper echelon, don't do it.
How about Vlad Guerrero?
Yeah, but I don't have him on my list because I think the Blue Jays are going to try to win.
Yeah, the Blue Jays aren't going to trade him. Right. Yeah, that's the vibe.
Please don't sign Jock Peterson. Don't sign Teoscar Hernandez. Don't. Get someone in the upper echelon that bats Happ, Suzuki, Bellinger, Tucker. Happ, Suzuki, Bellinger, Adames. It should be clear.
Do another one.
Happ, Suzuki, Bellinger, Alonso. That's what they need to do. And it can't be internal. We don't know.
Yeah,
you can't run it back.
And then one of these guys
you can't bat Matt Shaw fourth.
Well, one of these guys is going to have to get – a couple of these guys are going to have to get moved.
Right.
In order to make room for a guy, even if they wanted to sign a guy like Jock
that's on Jed. He created this mess.
And Jock Peterson, by the way, against righties, what a year he had last year.
Right. I mean, it's a good addition, but not for this team.
I get it. Oh, but man, was he a great player?
Who excites you the most from that list?
None of them.
Okay.
No.
Wait, what?
No.
Is it Adames?
Are you talking about the free agents only?
No, or trade.
Oh, Tucker, for sure.
Okay.
Kyle Tucker's the best player on that list. It's not even close.
Okay.
I know he battled injuries this year, but that guy, I mean, that's the type of guy that could take Wrigley Field over if he wanted to. This year, I think he was worth almost 5 WAR. Yeah, I'm pulling it up now, and He was he was worth almost 5 WAR. He played 78 games.
Oh my God.
He slashed 289 with an on base of 408. He slugged 585 for a 993 OPS. He's 27 years old. He's in his prime. Last year, before this year, he finished 5th in the MVP voting. He's a career 870 OPS guy. This guy's a star. Jed, if you're listening, 21 5-7 WAR, 22 5-4, 23 5-4, and 24 4-7, and he didn't even play in half the baseball game.
Well, that's what they need.
He's the best player on that list, and it's not even close. I would line them all up.
I'm skeptical of the Cubs going 9 figures for a starting pitcher in free agency.
I'm bad with that. What's 9 figures?
That's 100 plus million.
100 plus million. Okay.
I do think Max Fried's at the top of the list if they choose to do that. And then the other top tier starters, Sam, in my mind, again, this is excluding Burns and Snell, would be Evaldi and Flaherty. And then there kind of be that next tier after that.
Like a Bueller or something.
Yeah, Bieber, Minaya, Martinez, Pivetta, Severino.
I don't want to start doing this until next week for real.
Right, we'll do more specific targets next week.
But I really do. So I agree about the, however many figure thing. Yeah, but if there's one guy that might be available on a shorter term high AAV, which we know the Cubs organization prefers, it would be a Blake Snell.
Yeah, right? Like 2 or 3 years for a lot of money.
Yeah, maybe like 3 with an option at 30, 35 mil a year.
Oh, all right.
Because he's one of those guys, and I know he's left-handed, whatever, like Fried, but he's one of those guys. He's kind of like the opposite of Fried in a way where it's like his floor is a lot lower than Fried's, but man, when he gets going, I mean, is there a pitcher in baseball that has a higher ceiling? I ask that genuinely, honestly.
Wow.
Maybe Skeens. I mean, look out when he gets rolling, it's like 6 innings, 13 Ks every game. Right.
Well, yeah, no, that would be an exciting addition.
So, keep an eye on that. But man, you really got me fired up. I'm gonna do some homework on the Kyle Tucker thing tonight.
Yeah, because I think
I don't want to watch the Bulls.
You might be asking out there why would the Astros trade him? Well, he's going into his last year.
Yeah, that's why.
And they want to clear money for Bregman. They want to clear money for a Framber Valdez extension.
Yeah,
that type of thing.
So the first thing I agree with. The third thing, I can't imagine them unless it's like a loyalty thing. I mean, Tucker is such a more valuable commodity than a Bregman.
Yeah, I mean, the Astros GM, Dana Brown, went on record today. He said Bregman's the top priority.
Right, because Tucker's not a free agent yet.
Right.
But I just don't think that they would do that. Say, hey, we want to trade Tucker so we can bring back a Bregman. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, Bregman, if I were Bregman, his swing is so perfect for the Crawford boxes. Like he is, I think he more than any player is benefited by the park that he plays in. So I think he should make it work to get back there. But man, I'll tell you, if the Cubs were to, you know what? I would go as far as to say I'd be willing to give up like any player in this organization for Kyle Tucker.
Right. And you get excited about that because
that's the guy that we need.
Right. You can easily talk yourself out of, well, who are the Cubs going to get, especially if they explore a high AAV player on the pitching side.
Yeah.
Then who do you acquire? Because I think the AAV dollars should go to Alonso, Santander, or Adames if it was me.
Yeah, I'm not as bullish on Santander as you are, but I got to look into that. I mean, he had so many homers this year, and that is the definition of.
Because what if every team keeps their trade candidates? Then it's one of those 3, or it's an internal guy.
Yeah, or you hope Suzuki hits 40 homers next year.
Right, exactly.
Which isn't a great plan.
So a couple other notes. I do think the Cubs are going to go to 2 years for one of these veteran relievers.
Like a David Robertson or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's towards the back of the list, though, honestly.
Okay.
I think it's more like a Trinan or Holmes, Kenley Jansen.
No Trinan. I think the Dodgers
burned out.
I think the Dodgers burned him out.
So then Kenley Jansen, Clay Holmes,
wow.
The dude from the Phillies. that got traded from the Angels.
You're starting to accept. You really
Yeah.
think the Cubs are in on some of these guys?
Yeah, Jeff Hoffman from the Phillies
Nasty.
for a 3-year deal.
Nasty.
And they need to get a lefty on a 1-year deal as well, Sam.
So I was going to say the bullpen thing, I like
They need 2 veteran relievers too.
I like Luke Little a lot, but you need one more lefty in there.
Yeah, and AJ Minter is the guy that MLB Trade Rumors has connected the Cubs to already.
Fine.
And then the next best guy is probably a reunion with Andrew Chafin, or they would finally get Matt Moore after like the last 10 years.
Man, I feel like we've done 8 Matt Moore shows.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we've mentioned Matt Moore on this show more than we've mentioned like John Lester.
And then I agree with you on catcher. I think in addition to d'Arnaud, you'd see Danny Jansen and Carson Kelly's name out there.
Yeah, and I'd prefer d'Arnaud.
And then because
would you? Am I right on that?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would. I don't have a strong conviction though.
Me neither.
Tag team with Amaya. And then I do have 3 names because I'm very thorough. 3 names as the lefty bat off the bench.
Man, I really
Ildemaro Vargas, Adam Frazier, and Kevin Biggio are the free agents that could do that.
I'd take Frazier out of those 3.
Okay.
I thought d'Arnaud had a little bit better of a season.
Yeah, what did he hit? About 235?
238, 302, 436 with a 739. Not as good as I thought.
All right, well, let's get...
Hit 15 homers.
Does that help you with the offseason? I got excited doing this today.
You just made my day better today.
Okay.
Yeah, especially because I know you. We've done about 8,000 shows together,
right.
And I know when you I know the difference between when you're reporting something and then when you feel good about something. And
Right.
This felt like the latter to me.
Yeah, I'll do some digging on the Tucker front. Maybe, just try to get some more.
Well, no, just floating out that name. That gave me a little bit of a boost.
A little bit of a jolt, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, there is some news out of the GM meetings, including the professor getting a new school. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial flavors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms do apply for product-specific disclosures. Visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing does involve risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Today's episode is also brought to you by Arena Club. For most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a Luka, Ellie, or Mahomes rookie card just isn't in the cards. I love collecting, but that's some serious money to drop. Thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com. Now it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of the retail price. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, tradition, or auction. Plus, the process is accurate, fast, transparent, and with a full-grade rationale provided and explanation of how your card was scored. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you have to check out. Right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB. That's arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB, code LockedOnMLB for 1% off your purchase with Arena Club. All right, first news and note out of the GM meetings. A's GM David Force did say they're going to keep Brent Rooker, so you could cross his name off the list. White Sox GM Chris Getz, neighbors with Cubs president of baseball operations, Jed Hoyer, Sam.
Really?
Said that he is receiving a lot of interest already in Garrett Crochet. Willie Adames has indicated he's willing to change positions to third base or second base.
Wow.
And two more things here. Orioles manager Brandon Hyde is interested, hasn't yet, but is interested in
David
offering his bench coach
David
job to
Ross.
David Ross,
Saw that one.
who declined the same position last year with the Yankees. And finally, on a 1-year deal, Kyle Hendricks signed with the Angels.
The Ross thing, it does, I think, at least it is worth mentioning that he's not getting any managerial looks. Right. Another bench coach offer. Wonder if he takes it, maybe not.
Right. And he only talked to the Padres last fall.
Right.
That was it.
So, interesting. But, also there wasn't a whole lot of guys that were let go.
Yeah, there wasn't as many jobs as we thought.
The Adames thing's interesting. I saw that one. And then, of course, Kyle. I think it's a good fit for Kyle.
Okay.
I got to look at it, but I think just anecdotally, I would say the Angels park's, a pretty good park to pitch in, give up a bunch of fly balls if he needs to. And then I think his goal, because, that's a pretty bad team, I think his goal would be to pitch himself onto a contender by the deadline.
Nice. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, was he the first true
first
free agent off the board?
At least the first name.
Right. And the Angels made the first trade last week, getting Soler.
I'll be watching Kyle. You want to talk about a guy that's going to look weird in a different uniform.
That's it. Angels red and white.
Ooh.
It's going to be strange, man.
Strange. Happy for him, though.
Yeah, he gets to play with Mike Trout.
I knew that, and Mike Trout gets to play with him. I knew he didn't. I knew he wasn't ready to retire yet.
No, I think he definitely
he's got
was able to get
prove.
a job there. Yeah. All right. Well, coming up next, how much would it take? Stay tuned.
This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Whether it's a Cubs game, a comedy show, or a concert, I love going to live events. And now Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. The experience of searching for and then buying tickets on Game Time is simple. Plus, Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKDOWNMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKDOWNMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it?
Game time.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and they get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you check out the latest stats, you live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page. Where you place your bets, folks, the Bears are down to 6-point favorites on FanDuel against New England. Billings, who's been their best interior defensive lineman by a mile, is now out for the rest of the campaign. Spoiler alert, if you're still with us, this will be my worst of the week on tomorrow's show. It's really bleak, and it all turned on one play. Just visit FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook, to join today.
All right, we close out with how much would it take? I guess my question, Sam, is what do we need to do for the Cubs to add that true power hitter who immediately hits cleanup, immediately makes the Cubs better, immediately gets us excited?
Yeah.
How much would it take for you to camp outside until this gets done? And I want to put a little bit of a timestamp. I'm saying maybe from the start of the winter meetings that Monday to when it gets they sign or trade for that individual.
Can you give me a few more details about, like, am I going to be with anybody? Am I going to have someone help me build like a warm fort?
Yeah, I could help.
Oh, so I'm someone else. Someone more like handy with that stuff.
Right.
If I'm going to be by myself, I got to tell you, I don't think I really like it would probably, I really don't like being outside. Even when it's nice out.
A little podcast prank in the winter meetings.
I would go as far as to say I think we would have to be talking about like a 6-figure payment because that Matt, I mean that could be it could
No,
never happen.
Right. Just you're out in the cold and snow forever.
I could be out in the cold and the snow for the whole season. I'm going to say 250,000.
Okay, got it.
How about you?
Yeah, I don't think it would take that much. I think it would be actually somewhat of a fun endeavor and like for charity.
Oh,
For that 3 or 4 days that week.
Okay, sure. If it's just 3 or 4 days, that changes everything. You
But
said
if
until they do it.
Until they sign or trade for someone, I'd probably be in the 6-figure park.
Okay, cool. I would love to do it for charity for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
I just need someone to get me like one of those tents that's like heated or something.
Right.
And are we allowed to like go out for food? Or?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, because there's
one
a
outing
Raising
a day
Cane's.
or something.
It's like some chicken tenders right down the road.
Got it.
Hey, can I share a funny stat? Can I share a funny stat with you?
Sure.
This is according to Thomas Nestico, TJ Stats. He's got a pretty good following on X, if you will. Matt, would you like to guess the top 3 players that were victimized by the most outside pitches called strikes in the 2024 season? Hint is 2 of the 3 are Cubs.
Seiya's
actually number 3. Yes, not number 1. He's close to being number 1.
Swanson?
No, yeah. So I'll give you the non-Cub because that's if you could guess that, then you could be a hero. Number 2 is Marcelo Zuna, and number 1 is a certain Cub. My hint would be it makes sense on the outside pitches because he stands pretty close to the plate. His name was just mentioned in affiliation with the Houston Astros.
Paredes?
Yes, Isaac Paredes. So if they put this challenge system in, maybe the Cubs would have 2 of the 3 guys that would benefit most from it. I didn't feel that way about Paredes on the eye test. Of course, was Seiya.
Yeah, I didn't recall that.
This is just outside pitches though. So Seiya was victimized up top as well, down low, inside. So I don't know. Thought that was interesting.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about the starting pitching, and now this is buried in the show. I'll have to repeat it at some point because, we know the YouTube audience, especially, they might not be with us, but
they're with us. They're just not watching.
For as much as the offensive production was down at Wrigley this year, so were the pitchers' production increased.
Of course.
Because of the weather. So they have to account for that.
Oh, no. And you don't have to bring that up again because we have.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about
Making sure.
If you're going to – it's a good reminder. You're going to say, hey, we expect some bounce back from the offense.
Exactly.
Then you also have to say we expect from some regression from the pitching.
Totally.
Because Tyone especially thrived at Wrigley. And if you take out that one Mets start on that Friday afternoon against the Mets at that 120 where the wind was pretty normal, Shota was insane at Wrigley. So you have to account for that as well. It's a great point. It's a great reminder. Just because something's great in 24 doesn't mean it can't be greater in 25.
Sam's going to have trade values on Fridays. That's still going to be a top 10 or top 5?
Top 10. The list has been made. Made it last night. And to be honest with you, it took me almost an hour.
Yeah. Well, that's a big project.
And look, great. I got a few honorable mentions. It's purely, I didn't go on any of those trade machine websites or whatever.
It's just from you.
It's from me and my research and a lot of costs,
Yes. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. Kyle Tucker to the Cubs. We'll have to wait and see. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Go Cubs.